What is the worst first date you have ever been or seen? My friend was asked by a date very early into said date, "Are you on your period? I have this strange talent where I can always smell when a girl is on her period." She picked up her bag and left immediately. But was she on her period? She actually was, which was probably the most unnerving part of it all. My date used 2-hour street parking when we went to see Interstellar. We had to leave about 20 minutes before the end of the movie to get to her car in time. I still haven't seen the end. Matched with someone on Tinder. We chatted a couple of days on and off. We eventually decided to meet at the bar. She spent a lot of time on her phone, seemed extremely eager, anxious, looking at the front door of the bar. People kept walking by us and saying hi to her, so this was obviously her watering hole. We got one drink in before whoever she was messaging, eagerly awaiting, arrived. She excuses herself for just a second. 10 minutes later, she still isn't back. The bartender comes down to my end, asks if we're on a date. I told him yeah. He goes, "That was her coke dealer. Your beer is on me. She ain't coming back. And if she is, you don't want to be around her." Blind date. The girl was really hot, but she has anger issues. She was currently on probation for assault. Her ex-boyfriend is in prison. She lives 2.5 hours from me. I hope you follow the whole don't stick your ick in crazy rule. If she didn't leave so far, I might not have. Honest guy here. She was really superficial and vapid, gave a list of what a real man has to have in order to be with her. List would like have a Mercedes or BMW, wear a Rolex, have a suit, own their own home, have a condo in the city for weekend fun, own a boat, has to have an inheritance, can be more than 2 years older than her. I was pissing myself laughing in her face because she was an 18-year-old freshman in college and believed this was a prerequisite to date her. She's here eating ramen noodles yet wants a daddy-long dick to have all this. Like, ma, what are you bringing to the table? We graduated recently and she didn't date anyone during undergrad because no one was ever enough for her. Those prereqs were weird because she hadn't grown up in opulence. She grew up in a low-income country of our state. Almost shat my pants. It was only almost because we were at her place getting ready to watch a movie. I waddled to the bathroom and it unleashed. It was not quiet either. She asked if I was okay and had to run away from the door because of the smell. Turns out I got food poisoning from the lunch I had eaten earlier in the day. We are married now. I work at a fairly nice Italian restaurant where we do a lot of business. One night, a man who I was not even serving came up to me while I was punching an order on the computer and hands me $20 and a napkin with a phone number on it. He proceeds to tell me, "I'm on the worst date of my life. This woman is horrendous. I have to get out of here. Take this $20 and please go to the nearest phone and call me and tell me that I have to get home right away. I don't care what excuse you make up. I just gotta get the hell out of here." Initially, I thought he was kidding until 2 minutes later, the guy who was serving him came up to me to tell me how weak this woman was and how he could tell the guy didn't wanna be there. I promptly called that guy as soon as I had a free minute, one of my shining achievements as a server. Edit. When I post this, I didn't expect anyone to see it, so to reply to the most common questions, I called him and told him I was broke down on the side of the road and needed a lift. I never talked to the weak woman. Consensus from the server in charge of her table was she was just overly rude and off-putting. Okay, so I have been bartender and a waiter over the years and have witnessed a couple of really sad ones, a couple crazy ones, and one that was just brutal. This one was the best of them all, I thought. Good-looking dude, fit, clear-shaven, kind of looked like Jim Cantorai from the Weather Channel, but younger. 24 had to card him. And slimmer, sitting at the bar, going on about how he had a date with this girl that his best friend was crushing on hard that his friend just refused to ask her out because she was into him instead. He was really getting into his story when she walks in and he climbs up like someone shocked him. She was by anyone's standards drop dead good looking and killing it in a little black dress and high heels. It was really that rip the record kind of moment. Anyway, she comes up and they do the little kissy huggy greeting and she orders a tequila shot with a lime. He does one with her and they banter about getting that out of the way and move into a little more intense banter, and out of the blue, this dude whistles at me. Shocked honestly as the bar is pretty empty. He whistles at me again while I'm looking at him trying to figure out if he really just whistled at me like a dog. Yo man, more shots. Disappointed as he really kind of seemed like a nice guy, I go to pour him a shot and let him know I am not a dog. He does not need to whistle to get a drink. Sure man. No worries, just keep an eye out. We're gonna get lit, yo. I retire to the sidebar real quick and one of the other guys working that night starts to talk to him while the girl goes to the ladies' room. When she gets back, he whistles at the other bartender again and shouts, "Hey man, where are my shots? Pronto!" This guy starts just hammering shots. Not crazy but pretty quick. He's though at least 5. Girl only did the one and is sitting there sipping at a wine. The dude, we will call now Yo, starts to get a bit sideways. Nothing big, just loud, laughing at his own jokes, talking over the girl every chance he gets. He then announces that he has to piss on a rock and walks to the back. The girl looks mortified and sad. She's texting away like a madman. Then I hear him in the back raising some cane and out he comes with a dude under his arms. They sit down and he starts talking to different girl at the bar. He's not really piss drunk, but well on his way and says something out loud to the other girl about gay people and walks outside. His friend follows quickly after and the girl is left at the bar alone. 5 minutes later, the friend walks in, sits down, has a drink with the girl. I hear him say that he put him in an Uber and sends him home. They walk to go to the place the other dude has a reservation for them at. I honestly thought, hell yeah, good for you, dude. About 30 minutes later, yo boy walks back and sober as the day he is born, sits down, waves me over and apologizes for whistling at me. Give us $20 and buys us a shift drink for when we get off. I was off at this point and sit down to have mine with him. He lets me in on his game. He did it all for his friend, got half drunk, played the fools and called him to come save the day. Honestly said, he's a better man for her than me. She's really just not my type. I was stuck between awe and impressed. They all came in about a month later, looked all buddy-buddy, the trio of them. That a-hole whistles at me again, but I admit it was funny. My sister-in-law did this. She was with a good guy for a while, almost engaged. She came up with these sort of problems and decided he wasn't good enough. Years later, she's divorced, has 2 kids with a man who has 4 other kids by 4 other women that we know about, lives with friends, and hasn't held down a job for longer than a year. The guy she dumped is now a regional manager of a bank in their home country where it's tough to make money. If she had been patient, she could have built a life with that guy and be living like a queen. My favorite one was I picked up this girl and she gets in the car and before even saying hello or anything, she asks me, "Do you recycle?" And I'm so blown back by this question and pause for a second. Of course, who the F doesn't recycle? And she just says, "We're not gonna get along." I should have kicked her out of the car, lol. I asked a college girl out for dinner and to see a play and she invited her mother along. It was so awkward. It reminds me of an old joke. I was at the bar the other night and this older lady was all over me. Normally I don't go for women in their 50s, but she asked me if I had ever had a mother-daughter special. I was intrigued, so she took me back to her place. "Mom, I brought someone home." I met a girl on an airplane, got her number. She was doing school, I was interning. We met a few weeks afterwards for dinner. We met at the restaurant, tried to go for a hug. She's anxious and I can see it on her face, and kinda returned the hug. Weird. Well, not long after we sit down, she tells me she was assaulted by a member of her dance team, reported him, he was kicked out of school, and threatening her life via text. It came out that he assaulted other women too, so she spoke first. Well, she's freaked all dinner and has her eyes staring at the door, scared he's going to enter any second. Conversation was pretty difficult to get going, especially because she was warning me he might actually show up. Why did she tell him? I don't know. When she is ready to go, I escorted her in an Uber to her dorm. We waited for some of the other guys from the dance team to watch out for her the rest of the night. To be fair, her first date was probably way worse than mine. Wife and I were out on our usual Friday night dinner date when a couple of a few years younger than us were set a table over. We watched as the night progressed. The girl got less and less interested as the guy wouldn't stop talking about himself. We both felt sorry for the poor girl. Had to have been a first date and most likely his last. Had a girl try to convince me to cut off my long hair for the date. The first date. She knew I had long hair. It wasn't a blind date. She also brought her dog unannounced, insisted that go into the bar with her, then only talked about money for the next hour or two, constantly pestering me about how much I made. The second I caved in, the date was over. Mrs. Moneybags still let my apparently broke ass pay the tab. One girl started crying when a certain song came on and demanded to be taken home, maybe 20 minutes into the date. I guess it reminded her of her dad that had passed. No hard feelings on that one, obviously. I did my best to cheer her up on the way home. Never heard from her again. Hope she is doing alright these days. Showed up to a date. First question she asks, "Oh, how did you get here?" Me. "I rode my bike." Her. "Oh, I hate cyclists. Whenever I see them, I want to run them over in my car." 2 minutes later. Her. "So where are you from?" Me. "I grew up in Canada." Her. "I've been to Montreal." Me. "Oh, cool. Me too. I really like it. What did you think?" Her. "I hated it. I thought it was dirty and the French people are really rude." Went on 3 dates, nice dinner, met her mom and all that. During the 3rd date, she got a call in the middle of dinner, finished the call and said, "Sorry, that's my boyfriend. This is the only time he gets the call from basic." And then she couldn't wrap her head around why I thought that was F up. Her reasoning was he was in another state, so she can do whatever she wants. He was more than 3 hours late and was texting me telling me that he was 20 minutes away for 2 of those hours. As soon as he arrived, he tried to tell me to leave the part of the venue, dive bar I'd already paid in, so we could go where he wanted. Tried to start a fight with a friend I'd happened to run into and call my aunt, who talked me into going out with him in the first place, a blocking it. I just walked away from him after that last one, and we never spoke again. Not technically a date, but I got on flirty small talk with a girl next to me on a flight. We really hit it off to the point I made a daddy issues joke. She was flying to her dad's funeral. She cried for the rest of the flight, and I didn't get a number. Went on a date with a blind woman. Like most blindness, it wasn't absolute, but it was bad enough for her to use a white cane. A few days before the date, I asked her what she wanted to do. She said she wanted to see a movie. I was a bit confused, but she explained, luckily without being asked. She could piece things together based on the dialogue and her perception of light. She was actually a pretty big movie fan, all in all, as was I. So I took her to a movie theater and chose a film I had heard good things about from my sister. We got in, sat down, and the entire movie was in French, English subtitles. The look she showed my way a few minutes into the movie made me wonder if she was lying about being blind. I quietly apologized and said we should go get something to eat, to which she readily agreed. We did not have a second date. I remember a new girlfriend I had during one of my first trips to Thailand. She took me to eat some weird foods. I found out later it was pig placenta and intestines. Anyway, I got the worst food poisoning I have ever had. Staying in a small bungalow with your new girl whilst trying to have 8 or 10 explosive it just meters away from her, laying on the bed isn't very romantic at all. Ended up going to hospital. Met a guy on Tinder. We talked for a while on Facebook before meeting. He decides to come to my work for my lunch break. I was working third shift at the time, so this was at like 3 a.m. I hung out in his car in complete silence while he played on his phone. Then he started to show me pictures of real dead bodies on his phone. I hopped out of his car so fast. That was my first and last Tinder date. I've never tried Tinder, but stuff like this makes me think, you know what, I can at least be an average date. I matched with a guy I went to high school with and who I always thought was really good looking and really cool. Played sports, well, liked by everyone, etc. I probably hadn't seen him in 2 years at this point, but in his Tinder pictures, he still looked the same. So we agreed to meet up for coffee. He comes in with greasy long hair, a beard, and actually looked homeless, and went on to tell me that he dropped out of college and has severe ADHD now. He couldn't focus on one thing and was fidgeting the entire day. Told me how he's now one with the earth, and at the end of it, told me he was gay. I'm a girl. I seriously thought I was being pranked. I went to high school with this guy who were all 99% sure was gay. Years later, when I am long out of the closet myself and openly gay on social media, he reached out to me. Says he just moved back to our area and is looking to reconnect. I suggest dinner at a restaurant that isn't exactly pricey, but definitely has more of an intimate romantic vibe than like Applebee's. He agreed, and in my mind, this is fully a first date. We meet up, we hug, we have dinner, and the vibe feels pretty flirty. There was even a moment where our knees grazed and he giggled. I've got a meet cute story going in my head about how we were friends in high school and then reconnected as adults and fell in love. Then, near the end of the date, when we're settling the check and about to say our goodbyes, he asks me if I can put him in touch with this girl he saw tagged in pictures with me because he thought she was hot. This is the end of all of these crazy first dates. What is your crazy date? Share with us in the comments and see you in the next video.